Hey Joe and Joettes, it's Joe with the Carnivore Consciousness. Welcome back. At the end of the last video, we were talking about something that kind of changed my journey within the carnivore diet. The carnivore diet didn't fail me. My method needed to evolve. Today I'm going to show you exactly what changed, not based on a theory, based on observation. I started to listen and observe what my body had been telling me all along. That's when things started to change. If you didn't watch the last video, basically 10 months carnivore, everything's going good. Outline what had happened was first 30 days, brain fog lifted, depression gone, a new Joe had emerged. Within first 60 days, then I started working out consistently. Within 90 days, everything about my whole life had been different. Hit the 10-month mark, I was in the 13% body fat range. 13.3 was when I basically crashed. Energy stalled, recovery stalled, my mood even started to fluctuate. I lost confidence in myself and the diet. Talked about that last episode. Those signals, as we labeled them, led me to try to find these fixes or these add-ons, because primarily before that I was one meal a day and it was Lion's diet. First fixes, that I looked at doing was electrolytes. Electrolytes weren't helping. Then it was, butter, but it didn't change anything. Eventually added in coffee. I loved coffee from prior to carnivore, I just never needed it. Coffee was great because it gave me energy and it became a staple. What didn't change was the fact that now I was eating more, had more butter, coffee was regular, and then eventually heavy cream came into the coffee. Workouts ended, weight started kind of going back up. My energy never got to be where it was at. And my mood got stabilized, but not really where it should have been. None of the add-ons or the fixes solved any of the real issues. The failure was me not responding to what my body was telling me. The flatness and the mood spikes and the energy and the recovery and the poor sleep. This is all information that reality was telling me. I was not listening to it. So the system had evolved. When I kind of ended the perfect carnivore diet mindset with the way the energy was and the mood is and all this, things are different. What is reality telling me? I am one of the carnivores that had tracked a lot of the data fairly consistently through a scale, Apple Watch, the health app. So I was able to see a lot of the benefits. But once all this kind of came to a head, I'm like, I've got all this data. And I started using ChatGPT and having conversations with ChatGPT saying, hey, these are my goals, this is my approach. We started tracking like how I felt versus like how much sleep I got. And during the day, when did my energy actually stop? Because it was like I didn't want to work out anymore. I still did some of the ritualistic things, such as journaling, and that was a really important part of the process because I was thinking about these things all the time. My morning metrics with the scale kind of gives me, I'll put some shit on screen for you guys, and what I felt like, how many coffees I drank throughout the day, where the energy fell off, and how I felt. And we tracked this now for like 2-3 weeks, to the point where realized hollowness probably was a precursor to hunger. And then once my mood had shifted, I was hangry or, emotional. So the hollowness now became a signal of, okay, I'm actually hungry and I need to respond to the signal. Hard-boiled eggs. I'm gonna do hard-boiled eggs. So before I made that decision, I said, you know what? I'm gonna start with eggs in the morning because I haven't done breakfast in so long. So maybe it's just a meal frequency. What I would do is I would take the yolks, 4 yolks, throw them in my coffee. So this went on, but hollowness then started coming in later in the day, like around noon. But after 2 weeks of doing this, I noticed that I didn't really want coffee anymore. So coffee had just automatically dropped off. Those things happen through observation. Instead of becoming a moody little bitch, I said, well, fuck it. That's where these hard-boiled eggs come into play. I started packing hard-boiled eggs. You do construction, you have a 9:30 break, you have a 12 o'clock break. 3 weeks, I had only really been doing a one morning coffee. Heavy cream was gone as well. Also, now when I was tracking, I realized I wasn't actually even adding butter, and I wasn't hungry during the night once I added in the hard-boiled eggs. So what it ended up being was the yolks and the whites. Sometimes I wouldn't eat the whites. I would experiment with the whites with other carnivore recipes on the weekends. But I would ultimately end up eating 6 hard-boiled eggs throughout the day, whether that was 2 and 4 or 3 and 3 or 6 all in one. But this went on, and then eventually, now the scale starts moving down, and my hunger signals at dinner are now very low. I can no longer eat these big portions. So naturally, the calories started going down now. My level of satiety and being able to do things throughout the day was there. Then I said, screw it, I'm going to go back to training. To my surprise, everything kind of came back. Energy. So we tracked this, and instead of adding fixes, we ended up subtracting things. Dinner steak wasn't a fucking recovery mission, my friends. Some days, in fact, I didn't even really want to eat it.
Why did it work? Why do you think it worked? It wasn't the fact that I needed willpower. Obviously, I could just make it all day without eating. I think a lot of carnivores just do that, because you get these results of power weight loss. So you become obsessed with these numbers, and I know I certainly did. Eggs were easy to make or have on deck. And then the preparation made the decision automatic, where if there was a hollowness, a hunger signal, I was able to eat. I know a lot of people say eat until you're full. Well, it's surprising that 3 eggs after 4 egg yolks will fill you up. I stopped chasing energy and I started protecting it. And how I protect it is that fueling my body with nutrient-dense foods. Ultimately, it's not really about eggs. It's not really about meal frequency. It's about reducing friction. I kind of got bored with the eggs and I started making the pudding. And then that emerged into the chocolate pudding. We've already talked about how you allow coffee in, so that obviously allows for other natural things. And there's something that's far more beneficial. We'll talk about that in a later video. A primal pudding. I have a vanilla pudding video that I showed you, and then that evolved to the chocolate pudding. And it's delicious. So it tastes exactly like chocolate pudding, and it's all natural. Proteins, fats, everything you need. I'm going to show how to make the chocolate pudding eventually. If you want me to get on top of that video, comment send it. But alignment just became easier. It just, because now I'm fueling the body when these signals come in with carnivore food, reducing the friction. The right choices just became the easy choice at that point. The consistency just takes care of itself. What happened then, through all this? These experiments produced some measurable results. How the energy returned, and it was completely stable. Training came back. Recovery improved. Sleep improved. Sleep is always going to be a bottleneck for me. I have a young boy who I have 6 nights a week. That's just reality giving me information. So I know that sleep is a bottleneck of recovery and hunger and all that. Coffee naturally just reduced. Like, this is the morning coffee, and it looked like a lot because I added in ice and blended it in there with the yolks just to make it fancy. You'd be surprised how good that is. The body fat is trending down. I did fat loss to slow down, but reality showed me different. It's trending down pretty consistently. I see dips when the day after I train, which is glycogen and water, and then poor sleep quality. That's when I see the dips. I wasn't trying to eat more, I wasn't trying to even eat less. Responded to what reality was telling me. Carnivore consciousness. This channel isn't necessarily about a diet or the carnivore or whatever. It's more of a philosophy channel. I think you'll see that as time goes on. Reality doesn't argue with you. Reality just provides feedback. And I think a lot of us, we get caught up into these mindsets of, oh my gosh, the scale isn't moving. So we respond by maybe not eating or working out harder. And that's actually causing more problems. We don't have to judge what these signals are. We just need to be able to observe the signals and then adjust. Don't be closed-minded because it worked for some influencer or even the doctors. Your body tells you more than anything else. So you adjust and you repeat. Eggs didn't save me, pudding didn't save me, meal timing didn't save me, observation saved me. Kind of where the carnivore consciousness was born. I think if you're in a point in your journey where you're having hiccups or you have kind of higher health goals than just like dropping weight, you actually want to be lean, you want to maintain that year round, you want to have aligned healthy eating choices, and you're, you know, either whole foods, keto, ketovore, carnivore, whatever, I think this channel is going to add some value. There's going to be some lessons learned. I've got a lot of stuff coming up. Really what we're doing is we're observing. We're going to record the information. Regardless, you don't have to be a power nerd like me and journal it or have these conversations with ChatGPT and then experiment. You know, I don't think eggs is the answer for everybody. I don't think the primal pudding is the answer for everybody or yolks in the coffee. But you adjust and then you remain aligned with your goals. If you're sick of feeling stuck, don't assume you've failed. You really haven't. Your job is just to observe what's going on. You don't have to assess whether it's failure or win. Because I guarantee you, the universe around you isn't assessing that. Respond to it, remain aligned. Until next time, stay aware and stay aligned. Comments, send it below if you're trying to get involved with this chocolate primal pudding, which is phenomenal. And by the way, I do make chocolate bars too. So, and obviously chocolate ice cream. This stuff is so good, it's highly addictive. But it's a great way to get a lot of nutrients. Stay aligned. All right, guys, thank you so much. Have a great day.